Hello and Assalamu alaikum. Now, many of you would have seen the launch of the Muslim Manifesto by MEND in Parliament just a few days ago. And so now this is the first of a series of very short videos on a number of the key pledges, key areas covered by MEND's Muslim Manifesto. Number one is equalising protections granted under the incitement to race and religious hatred to communities defined, of course, by race versus those defined by religion. Okay, so have a look at this example, which may illustrate the point pretty well. Former UKIP councillor Eric Kitson put a Facebook post up, which, as you can see, has a pig with a chef's hat on with Allah on it, roasting over a spitfire, a traditionally dressed Muslim with a Quran fanning the flames of that fire. And on a separate post with reference to Muslim women, he wrote, "Hang them all and ask questions later." Now, would you find that offensive? I'm sure most people would find that offensive. But is it enough to constitute incitement to religious hatred? And I'm afraid the answer is no. Why? Because for it to be incitement to religious hatred, you have to prove, if you're the Crown Prosecution Service, you've got to prove that Eric Kitson intended to stir up religious hatred. A mere likelihood that that would have happened is not enough. And contrast that to the position when it comes to racial hatred. Had the person in Eric Kitson's picture being roasted to death not been Muslim, but been somebody from a racial background, which UK law recognises as the Sikh community, the Jewish community and the black community, then almost certainly Eric Kitson would have been prosecuted under the incitement to racial hatred legislation, because it is set at the correct level. The burden of proof is set at a level whereby if it was likely racial hatred would have been stirred up, it's enough to prosecute. Whereas when it comes to religious hatred, a mere likelihood is not enough. You have to prove, if you're the CPS, that the individual, in this case Eric Kitson, actually intended to stir up religious hatred. And that is why this Facebook post was not prosecuted against. And this is just an example of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of posts over the years. All right, so what's our conclusion? Our conclusion is we want to equalise the burden of proof required under religious hatred legislation to what already exists under racial hatred legislation. Equality is all we're asking for.